Yeah.
Welcome. This is the Roundtable server. We're doing a little recorded event here with our esteemed member Lars, and he's got some thoughts that he wants to share with us tonight. So thanks for joining, and I'm just going to let him have the floor, and he's going to tell us what he's thinking. All right. Thank you.
All right. No, thank you for having me. Basically, the way how this country in America just it it's going downhill for the reason not because of everything that we want to blame it on, right? We want to blame it on the government. We want to blame it on this and that. Oh, how the police are doing this and that. We want to blame how our country is going downhill because of their mistakes. Whenever really we're the populace, we're the majority. We make the decisions to either excel or decel inside the capitalist society like this one. So that being said, whenever we focus our times on something like the now lost the definition of the protests, like in D.C., Portland, Washington, where was it? Seattle, all these type of different places. What we're having here is a bunch of shit, basically, because we have people in the morning who want to go to work, try to do things, and by the time they go to sleep, wake up again, their work might be burned down in the morning, and now they can't get food on the table for their family and shit. Because if people want to riot instead of peaceful protest, and I'm okay with the peaceful protesting, I'm all for it. Go for it. Stand there and make your stance, but don't start affecting other people's lives like that. Because you're affecting the economy too while you're at it. And because we didn't take this coronavirus seriously, our economy is drastically declining by the I want to say the week almost. It's just it looks so bad right now. If you look into it, it looks pretty bad. We look like we're heading into somewhere where it ain't good, and where that is going to be possibly another Great Depression, possibly a economic collapse and a collapse in our government, in our system, and that could lead to a whole bunch of stuff that I can't even leave an opinion about because that will be all up in the air for what's after that. Because everybody who's alive right now don't even know what a Great Depression is, how to handle it, much less how to grow their own things or do their own things. We all just been kind of roller coastered into this lifestyle of following whatever the media portrays to us, following whatever's thrown at us about what our government is, whatever's known, whatever we do is kind of affected by that since a young age to now. Because what we read, what we see on a face value platform of Facebook, Twitter, the first hell, even the maybe even the first page of Google might even be a good example for that. You might not find where is the original document. You have to go through the citation after citation, look for it and look for it. Whenever you get there, you find something where your article says on Facebook, and you get to the original source of what that person who posts that article based it off of, which by the way gets money through your clickbaity clicks. It's almost a completely different narrative with one agenda, one side or another, gay or straight, whatever it might be, is going to be a narrative that people are going to see, and they're automatically going to be like, "Oh yeah, that must be true because I agree with it." Because that must be true because I feel it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like how you want to trust CNN, you want to trust Fox News, you can't trust either one of them. They both put opinionated biases in their news sources, thus making a truth a lie because it's manipulation. It's a lie through manipulation. You are twisting the truth to make it look like it's something it's not. That is a lie. And what you're seeing is nothing more than just an impulsive behavior given to yourself and given to us through sensitization of it through our media to just take shit for face value. Whatever's thrown in front of us, we
Can
take
I?
it because we think what we see on our own individual like networking, what we look up in our cookies and our data, what we're looking at is going to be the truth because it's going to be to us because it supports our narrative too much. And
Lars.
you want something, yeah.
Well, yeah, quickly, just like the thing with Fox News, for example, is that yes, they are biased, but they clearly admit they're biased. They're like they don't say we are like very neutral and we don't take no stand and like we are like the middle and no, they're like they have opinionated hosts and they openly admit that they are biased. As where like CNN will be like we are the arbiter of truth and we're in the middle and we really don't have a side, and we're reporting just facts. And like I agree that Fox News has bias, but they admit it, and that's the whole difference. Like where
Uh,
MSNBC and CNN, they don't they're like, oh no, we're just very neutral journalists.
it doesn't change that I stole from you if I admit that I stole from you, dude. That's all I'm saying is that like either way, you're still getting fed something.
Oh
And
yeah,
in fact,
yeah,
that could be used
I
as a
agree.
tactic because conservatives are more kind of a upfront kind of people. That could be a tactic used by oh well, at least they admit it, type deal, and they still give you the opinion and bias. But the thing is, your news as a nation should give you the straight facts and no bias and nothing else, because that's what it should give you. Yeah, it'll be boring, sure, it'll be boring or whatnot, but it'll be what you need to know. That's the big deal. Is that
Yeah,
we need to know things and we're not getting to know it because we're not even thinking twice about half the shit that's being fed to us.
no, I
Everything
agree.
is like because we don't want to disagree with it because we want to believe we're right. And I go searching, I go looking through these articles. Sometimes I might have to go through two different citations before I get to an original post to where I cannot find anything else. I This is where it started at, and it will. Oh my god! And it will say something that's like probably about 30%. I'm not going to press that as a average statistic, but I'm saying from what I feel, from what I read from both sides of several different articles to origin of post, I see like way more the opinionated bias that's going to get the clicks more than it is any bit of the fucking goddamn truth that is behind it. The science, the technicality, the big words that might be in it, stuff like that. They might try to simplify it, but whenever they simplify it, they soften it. They try to synonym it in a way where it sounds differently than what it actually is. Kind of like how the KJV does with the NIV, or the NIV does with the KJV. It makes it sound softer, it makes it sound different because it kind of is different because those words mean two different things. And those small little minute details inside those things are what makes those lies very, very dangerous to these people because it makes us just agree and ignorant with it to where a point where it's like if someone's going to disagree with you on it, give you a fact, you might become ignorant to it, and you'll just be like, no, I don't want to look at that shit. Fuck you, type shit. Because we are like that. We've been taught to become impulsive, compulsive consumerists, and we believe whatever's thrown in front of us. We have gotten involved and have now just consumed with media and electronics and technology to where we have so much information at the palm of our hands. That information that's given to us, as soon as we see it, that's what we're going to believe. It's better to know more about one thing and have the fact down with one thing than it is about five things and having just a little bit of knowledge on it. But your bias is going to cover the rest of it. You understand what I'm saying? You can read either a whole thing of something and get your conclusion from it, or you can read a paragraph or two of it and then write the rest of it with your opinions and your bias and with what you think the rest of it was going to be. You know what I'm saying? That's basically how these things look to me, how they looked, and it's not good. It's it's dangerous, and that's why we're having race issues now. God, I never thought that we'd start seeing these race issues like come across us again like this. Where okay, first it was the police, but now it's just white people. Now it's just black people. Black people do this, white people do that, black people do this, white people do that. And if you're with and you subscribe to certain people, which because you care about the race issue and you want to see it happening, they're only going to portray that negative. They don't want to show anything else.
Dude,
They don't
quickly,
want to
have
show.
you guys seen about the 5 years old little boy that got just point blank shot by a black like adult man who just went and he shot him in front of his sister and stuff? And the thing is, like, if the reverse happened, we would
Oh
speak
yeah,
about that shit for fucking years. Like a white man just came out of nowhere and in front of his sister shot a little black boy of 5 years old named Darren because he was black. Could you imagine? And the thing is, probably nobody heard about this shit. Like in the news, MSNBC, CNN, even Fox News. I don't even think Fox News fucking spoke about this.
no, because it doesn't support the narrative that everyone already believes now by a majority.
Exactly.
Because here's the
It's
thing:
like
is that majority is so important for that shit. Where if you show them something differently, they're going to start thinking differently. Then they're going to be like, oh well, maybe it's not just
Well,
me.
yeah, they're gonna
Maybe
realize it's like with the whole Black Lives Matter. I'm gonna just another thing quickly. Like last year's, there's been 13 unharmed black men that been shot dead by the police. Unarmed doesn't mean you don't try to punch the cop in the face and get his gun. Unarmed just means you don't have a gun when the altercation happened. But there's been 8,000 black men killed by other black men last year. Nobody gives a fucking shit. Nobody's batting an eye. But these 13 thugs that maybe not all of them are thugs, but these 13 guy, which like most of them did attack the cops before they get shot and everything. Oh, this is a real problem in America. This is the face of racism. But these 8,000 black men who are dead now, oh, that's just that doesn't exist.
and that's where we get to something else here too. Is like, why see it like that? Why try to see? Why did you try to look for it? Oh, how many black people killed black people? It's like how many people died last year? You know what? See it like that, and you get a huge statistic. How many black people died this year? How many white people died this year? How many cops died? How many this died? They're going to be drastically different numbers. It doesn't matter anyways because they still died, and probably over near all of them probably be not over a race issue. You understand what I'm
Oh
saying? That because the race
no,
isn't the
the
problem.
black dude being
Is the
killed by black dude.
degeneracy.
Oh, so sorry to cut you off.
Degeneracy. No, it's okay. It's just degeneracy is our problem on every race scale. Lower class degeneracy is a problem, and I'm
Yeah,
not
single
saying
mom,
yeah, it's
degeneracy.
a single
Black
mom.
family, 73% ratio of single motherhood. Like, bro, don't ask yourself.
And then on top of that, it's just like, listen, I support single moms. I understand they have it hard. I understand that they need it.
Yeah,
But the
I
thing is
understand
that
that they made poor life choice. You know?
yeah, exactly. I've made plenty of poor life choices in my life. It's just theirs greatly impacted theirs more than mine. But the thing is that I, if you just chose to just think before you did things, really most times at night, you might not end up like that. And that's the thing is that these poor choices could be easily avoided if we just kind of teach ourselves to stop giving into our primal impulses and primal instincts of wanting to do certain things like that. Because what we've been taught is to give into these primal mentalities of taking things at face value, like the black and white issue, where if you see a video where you see a black guy in public, the first thing you might think of is a video where that baby, or just think about that baby got shot by a black person. It's like you shouldn't think like that. He's an individual. He didn't even have anything to do with it. He might not even know about it.
No, wait. Do you
Hell, he
think?
might even have a white girlfriend.
No, wait. Do you think the police should go into life and suspect Asian male just as much as they suspect black male?
Well, they're taught to profile more times than not. They're taught to profile, and they start profiling by their district and what areas that they patrol. Because remember, the same cop, same patrol area, usually throughout a year, if not the whole time they're a police officer, right? Throughout that time, you see things and you know things. So then you start seeing inside that certain area, you're patrolling a demographic that might be a little bit more this or that, or there's a lot of people going to this place right here. Maybe whenever they leave it, I should stop and question him or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you only patrol a small part of where an issue is. So you only see so much of what the issue is whenever you're on the job. So of course that profiling is going to differ with each and every individual of a cop whenever he goes on patrol. But that don't mean that there are not racist ones, but that don't mean that all of them are racist. You
Oh
understand what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Okay, wait. Okay, the fact that people are profiling for a certain like, we know that like more than 50% of the murder are being committed by black male age between 16 to 35 years old. So like, and they are like 4% of the population. It's not fucking ludicrous for cops to suspect more that black man than the Asian dude who is like not represented at all on the fucking murder chart.
Well,
and
yes, it's
and
just
I don't think it's fair to say that the only reason why the Asian dude is not represented on the murder chart is because cops don't look for Asian dude. Like,
well,
I,
it's because Asians are an issue here as far as that goes, as far as my knowledge is. But there are probably, just as many individual Asians that might be as bad as that. But the thing is
I don't
that
think so. We
they're
would
not a
see it.
part of the lower class statistic either that's substantiated in a community. As
Wait,
far as
what
my
do you
knowledge,
mean
it
lower
was like
class statistic?
Chinatowns and our whatnot. Like, yeah, lower class statistics are people who are the lower class. So people make under
Yeah,
50K a
but
year.
like, why are they the lower class?
Oh, well, that could be for a number of reasons. It could be because their parents, their own decisions will determine what they have as whenever they're an adult, of course. But it's harder to get by whenever you are lower classes getting started. But with enough work, you can't get somewhere. It's not because of your race anymore, dude. It's not because of that. It's just really very rare that you see that. But the thing is that the lower class is represented by the black people. And whenever you're lower class, you devolve into degeneracy because you get any means to survive type deal, and that means that you have white trash and black people just kind of just have this mix of convoluted bullshit. That bullshit always happens where they're at because because they act degenerately because that's what kind of media and what they watch and what they like to watch all the time, which is really their main influence on most anything, especially for a
Right,
black child, a black child and
dude.
without a
Black
father
the rap
seeing a
music
rapper on
fucked
TV.
up so much. Like even white kids are being fucked by like my brother's been literally he became a retarded thug because he started listening to rap. It sounds fucking bad, but like he listened only that since the age of like
Yeah.
13, 14, and like whatever.
Yeah,
Nah,
well, there's not black people making that music. There's also white people too. But the thing is that this is it's represented by black culture. Representation does not necessarily mean the the thing, right? It's just what the majority of it
you mean
is. It goes one.
correlation don't mean causation, right?
Oh
Uh,
yeah. The
yeah,
thing is that whenever a child's watching TV and there might be a black son to a black mom, right? And she and her dad left out, whatever, right? Whenever he watches a male rapper on TV and kind of sees that what's glorified on TV, that's his male influence.
yeah,
That's his male influence of what a man should be, and then that's holding down a lot of them because that's just keeping them down. It's keeping them wanting to be this make it break it kind of deal. Whereas instead of just like you know,
dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything's not short term because short term goals equals short term results.
Oh,
And it's
dude,
like they have that such a make it break it mentality, get rich quick. Same thing as the white trash with that type of deal because they just are raised inside of people who want to do this or that, have impulsive behavior, buy scratch off tickets, shit like that all the time, and it may run into gambling issues or just as much influenced by rapper or country artists on TV who doesn't greatly represent what a male should be or what a male should be for any type of society outside of being one to 1%. You know, and so you get these type of deals, and all you see is that we're being synthesized to be degenerates, and we're allowing it to happen. We're not looking at the issue at hand, which is the media, what they portray, what they show us instead of what they should show us, what we should know versus what they say we should know. And it's because we won't look deeper into it because either A, we ain't got the time, or B, we ain't gonna hear nothing else. You dig what I'm saying? Either we gonna have the time to support my narrative because I have a stressful life as a middle class or lower class man, and I need something to kind of boost my esteem that at least something's right in my life, that I feel like that what I'm reading is right, or I just don't have time for it whatsoever. I really just don't have time for it because I gotta work, I got a mortgage to pay off, I got this to do, I got a second job to get to, I got a kid to take care of. I ain't really got time to really look for this type of shit. Because let me tell you, whenever I looked for this type of stuff, it took time. It took some actual effort to do it. It shouldn't be effort. It shouldn't have taken me effort in an hour or so to find the original source of an article.
right.
It should not. That shouldn't happen. We shouldn't be have so
Hey,
much
Journalism
diarrhea on top of our
is dead,
pile of
right?
gold. We shouldn't have so much diarrhea on top of our fucking gold pile, dude.
Like journalism is basically dead. It's all fucking
Yeah,
activism now.
journalism is dead. All that journalism is for now is they want to make money as much as possible, and the best way to do it is making clickbait because whenever the article is clicked on, they make money. That's how they
Well,
make money.
actually, there's also in journalism, there's a problem, especially in sensationalized journalism. I don't like French first language, so I don't. But
Oh, you're fine.
the idea is that if somebody's like Trump, like if an article has already been written,
It's sensationalized.
you can't rewritten. So Trump might be a racist. Trump is a
Mhm.
racist.
Mhm.
Trump is the worst racist.
And
Trump is just like Hitler. Trump is worse than Hitler, and
there's
people actually said that. Some like if you like YouTube it, like some people are out there on the mainstream media saying Trump is actually worse than Hitler because
yeah, I know.
bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Like what the fuck is wrong with you to say something like it's just the escalation of the media and the news cycle because like there's so many
Dramatizations.
articles of like Trump is racist. You can't just be like, oh well, Trump is racist. Nobody's gonna click on that. There's a million article about this. So
Even then, if see, here's the thing: is that this is the first Republican we had in office in 8 years. Well, really, now 12
wait,
years.
go slower. I
Okay,
don't
this is the
understand.
first Republican that we had in office in 12 years, right? What have we seen? No, wait, not even 12 years. You know how many other years it's been? He's been in
Eight.
what? Yeah, what? Yeah, 8 years.
Yeah, I
So
mean now it's been almost 12 years and there hasn't. No. You just fuck yourself up the hair, son. But it's okay.
yeah, okay. So he's the first
8 years.
Republican that we've had since you
They
know
had two Obama.
since we felt like it's forever. You know.
Yeah, I know.
And all they preached was Obama's greatness, right? And there were bad things they did, which the whole entire Obamacare was sheltered by lies. Which he also did some good things, which I'm not gonna lie, he did. But Trump's also doing good things. He's making relations with who were prior enemies. Just because they're communists doesn't really mean that we need to be enemies with them. And on top of them, taxation of import export goods. So we handled that with England. England was up taxing us by a lot. Um, so it's China was uptaxing us a lot, and I think Vietnam was one of the people who were doing that as well, and also Mexico. And he got changed around to where it would be fairer for the American companies here that are actually based here. That
Yeah.
instead of you paying $5.99 for a shipping tax on something that was made in Kansas, you're going to get something that's $3.99 for something that's made in China. That's basically the same thing, right? And it's like, of course, you want to go to the cheapest sales tax. You know what I'm saying? You don't think twice about it because the thing is that he's made it equal now, basically pretty much equal for them. So now we can support a little bit of actual income revenue to this place because everything that comes outside of this country is companies that go into that
Not only
flood
that,
this country.
there's actually something else. There's America is basically the world police, and countries with the I don't remember which what's the name of the ONU in French, like l'ONU, United Nation. So basically, a bunch of the nation who are part of the United Nation are supposed to pay the United States between like 1.5 and 2% of their GDP, depending on the country.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of them were just not paying it. They were just not paying it. They just stopped, and America was doing nothing. And Trump was like, now you're gonna pay us, or we're gonna stop protecting you. Period. And like, what it does, like, we're giving you services. You're not paying us, so we're gonna shut down the services. And everybody was shocked, like, "Oh, how can he do that?" It's like, well, how is that America haven't done that already? What the fuck, you know?
But yeah, because we complain about it because it doesn't really benefit us to have a now situation. But as far as our inflection, all that type of shit with our economy, that helps it. But they don't see it because we just I'm not getting what I want now. But here it is. Like foreigners like as in yourself, things like that. People come from other countries and come to here excel greatly, and that's because they have a work ethic that Americans have lost because we have lost standards. We have
And
lost
you have
standards
also
to have to
exported
be.
your job elsewhere.
Well, actually, we haven't lost standards. I'd argue we've actually just changed them, because if you look at the
Fair enough.
demographic transition model, which is what I'm going to use as the example, we've gone from this industrial revolution, and now we're in the demographic transition model 4, which is based on a service economy, and also what it does, it has a population pyramid based on the population percentage of these age groups and the male or female. Now, because we're a service economy, of course we offload manufacturing elsewhere. But now, because we're going into demographic transition model 5, which is also one of the reasons why we're talking about this so much, like in industry in the US, about bringing it back. Well, actually, it's naturally going to happen anyways, because we're actually going to be uh, producing actually, uh, if I could say it correctly, we're actually going to be evolving into a advanced industrial economy. So based on technology and not as much as human labor.
So what you're saying is like is modern industrial renaissance is what's going to happen,
Yes, based on technology, and
and what is
it's already
happening with
happening if you look at the demographic transition model, based on the population pyramid.
and because of what's going on inside of our economy, we have to bring as much revenue as possible back into this country.
Yes, I would say that.
I mean, that
And
should be the
I
goal
was
of
gonna
every
say, like,
country on Earth.
the process of saying that we should bring it back into the country is really just kind of on the timeline, anyways, because it's inevitable. It will
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, we're seeing
It,
people protesting inside other countries, their factories and stuff, because they don't want them there and stuff, because it kind of interrupts their local lifestyle. Yeah.
wait, think about pharmaceutic, like the antibiotic. You
Oh,
guys
dude, Jim,
know,
we're
dude,
not
you
gonna be able to
guys
do anything
know
about
that
that.
there's like zero antibiotic company left in the United States. Like I think it's something like 100%, literally, of antibiotic in the United States come from China. Like
Well,
that is patently fucking insane.
here's one
Yeah.
example that would support my argument. Now, AMD. AMD is a manufacturer largely known for their processors, so for computers. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but instead of manufacturing their processors in China anymore, they've actually largely moved on to countries like Taiwan or the Philippines. Now, that is because if you look at China, China has now a growing middle class. So
Yeah, it
instead
means
of going from
standard of living and
excuse me, you're
started.
actually interrupting me.
My bad.
Instead of going from a industrial, they're actually going from an industrial economy more towards service oriented to actually service their middle class.
Mhm. Yes. So we see that there's going to be a big worldwide change in what things are going to be happening. Probably in the next like 10 years, we'll probably see a big margin of a change, right? So what we'll be seeing is hopefully something good, or hopefully something good from it, right? But the issue is that before anything can really get that good, we really need to change as people, as citizens who are born into this country, as people who are here. Because whenever you see a foreigner come over here, they automatically excel so fast, that's because they have a work ethic that a lot of Americans have lost, a lot of a drive that a lot of Americans have lost, a lot of standards that we have lost, our right for a living, for life, for living, in period. I don't care what you had to say, but a good life is a stable life,
Your
and
liberty.
and liberty. And you able to do that in a free country. We're able to throw fucking fireworks and try to siege a government building, burn it down with people with government agents inside the fucking building, and we're able to do that without even get shot. Like we have it good. You know what I'm saying? Like China would have done gun down its people at it. Other countries would have did some drastic measures to do that.
You
To
know,
that action.
speaking of China, and actually touching off of some of those subjects, such as for example, so remember how we actually talked about isolationism, about being the world police. Now, to touch off of that, What China is actually doing is they actually have something called the Silk Road 2.0. So essentially, they're actually expanding their global political power by actually funding all these developing countries, which in return become indebted to China. So unfortunately, it seems like it will be another, well, not as much as being an arms race, but more so being a political power race. And it seems that we might just have to do the same thing and let the rest of the world catch up by
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
doing it
What I'm saying.
ourselves.
A
Yeah, that's
little of a Cold War, you mean, maybe?
no. I definitely get what you're saying. It's basically stop being so fucking nice and start sucking it up, and we need to start doing shit for our own selves instead of piggybacking off of other countries. Hey, because that's basically what we've been doing for a good few amount of years, and it's been looking pretty bad for those amount of years. You know what I'm saying? Because drastically, we don't have any like closed circuit income here. Like it's just all going out and everywhere, fucking who knows where. You know? And we need
Well,
some more local income, local economy income.
my argument is mainly so if you look at the Middle East, now it's obvious that we've actually been exploiting them for oil.
Oh yeah,
However, if
Well,
you look at their culture, they're actually fairly aggressive and actually do not like us, the Westerners. Now, what China's really doing is, if I don't know you've heard of it, but Hearts and Minds, it's been repeated a lot to military members who served over in the Middle East. And basically, what it means is you're trying to win over their hearts and minds and win over the people. So instead of like exploiting them as much, it's really just to win over these countries, and in return, it will kind of reciprocate the benefits that we give to them by political power, and also it's really kind of like a Cold War 2.0, but instead of Russia or the Soviet Union, this time
what is
it
that?
is communist China.
and I don't want to go off into a narrative here, but we also our government has some pretty bad things going on with it, where it's kind of prevalent. There's some things that go on here where it's like we might have some of our illegal, well, most of our illegal drug trade ran by our government agencies for public cartel, but that's not even a main issue here at fucking all. But it is just that we're just selfish, impulsive, compulsive consumers who don't give a fuck about the next man. Sometimes I don't know. And that's a big issue with a lot of us in a majority, because it's like we have people who, because they believe it's not real, the coronavirus, they're not going to wear a mask for the safety of other people because it does not benefit them if it was real, because it said that the mask doesn't, stop it from coming out. But whenever you cough or something or breathe, it keeps it from the amount of radius it goes out. Basically, it kind of cushions that kind of little cover there, a little cushion of cover, so that 6 feet distance is kind of actually viable. Because if you cough without a mask on, it's going to go way farther than that mask. And if
No.
you have it, which you don't know, you will have it for about 2 weeks or so, by what they say.
Okay, but that's the problem. Like, it started with 2 weeks wearing a mask and like social distancing. We're now like almost 4 months into it, and now they're talking about the second wave and closing even more businesses. Like, this is
That's the thing,
just
is that why? How did this happen? Because we
What happened
here's
was,
the first time. Because we're selfish, we're impulsive, we're compulsive. We want to believe everything but what the truth is. What's in front of us, but what the truth really is.
well, actually, the truth is, in January, Virginia almost evolved into a civil war. Now, this was over the legislation led by the governor of red flag laws and actually severe gun control
yeah.
over anything that is basically a rifle with a detachable magazine. Now, any rifle that has a detachable magazine would basically be considered as an assault weapon, which in this verbiage
Wow.
is engineered to instill fear in people who don't know about it. And then,
Exactly.
as soon as
Yeah.
this happened, we had more than 30,000 people gather in the Capitol with weapons protesting this. And we actually had 98% of the counties who voted in the ordinance that these such unconstitutional laws would not be allowed, enforced, and they would actually fight against it,
Dude,
including
us.
sheriffs, police departments, and at this point, they were about to bring in the National Guard because peaceful gun owners had gone to the Capitol to protest the governor in his mansion. Now, what happened after that was suddenly, we almost go into war with Iran. But is that really what happened? And then right after that, we suddenly have coronavirus that just suddenly pops up. Now, how do you have this virus that just suddenly pops up where everybody says, "Oh my gosh, it's so scary," but the percentage of people who have actually been infected in the country. Now, if you think about it, we have over 350 million people living in the United States of America.
Uh-huh.
And how many people have been infected? How many people have actually died from it?
The
Probably
statistic.
less than
No, but wait,
1%.
wait. Something very interesting about this is if you ask people
Were
how
you
many
done?
people do you think,
Sammy, Sammy,
Oh,
were you
whoa, there
done?
you go. Yeah, yeah. Hang on.
Yeah,
Well,
it's fine. I ended my
oh,
statement there. So
can
Lex,
I
Let me ask
Lex
okay,
you
is
a
fine.
quick
no, but
real
question,
dude,
quick?
Sammy.
It's
I
like
just want to say
Sammy,
it's very quick.
hey, 1 second. Sammy, do you live in Virginia?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Lex.
Okay,
okay. Let me say something real quick, man. Because like at this point in this time period, it's like who the fuck cares where it
Okay.
came from, man? We gotta figure out how we can domicile this. So I said that earlier. We need to figure out how to fuck to get this done. And what one good way to get that done is just by wear a fucking mask. You know, lotion or fucking alcohol swabs, fucking whatever the hell, gloves. Get yourself checked if you feel like you're sick. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like these are simple things that you do not for just yourself, but for the other people
it's about
around you. Do unto
liberty.
others as you want to do to yourself, because that's a golden rule. I don't care if you're a Christian or not.
Lars,
Now,
All right,
about
Lex,
liberty.
go ahead. Lex,
If
go ahead.
you propose something to someone, that's like I think it should be proposed. It should be, but the fact that it is being imposed. Have you seen in Australia how crazy this fucking is? Like how the cops, like a cops, literally body slam a woman on the ground because she was not wearing a mask, and that woman actually had a medical exemption from wearing the mask. Like and the problem is we're talking about it's liberty over safety, and I think the proverb is that those who give up liberty for safety deserve neither and will lose both.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Is that liberty though should not be accosted at economic failure or reconstruction, if you may, because then a lot of people are going to suffer from this. Whenever the banks close, if the banks do close, it's going to be a bad time for everyone. And
wait. I'm sorry. Never mind. Continue.
I'm I'm thinking about it, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, yeah, we could have another modern industrial renaissance, but let's try to decide they want to come over here try to take up their tax that we owe them. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like things have been crazy, and the things that you don't think would happen have been happening for the past like 10 years, for my knowledge, because I'm 21. Like
So,
crazy shit that you did not think would ever happen has been happening. It's not that crazy to think that China might start a war with us on some dumb shit. Like dead
so,
ass, bro. Like we need to be on our p's and q's, and no one even knows where p is.
so
Like
you're
they don't want to
argue.
know.
All at the same time.
So you're arguing for safety over liberty.
No, what I'm arguing is common courtesy over selfishness and impetuity.
No, but the thing is it forced or not? That's the whole. Like, if you propose to people, if hey guys, it will be very nice if you wear a mask and you wash your hands. It will help the whole community and the population to like achieve like not dying, like protecting our elderly and stuff like that. The problem is now they are making
But oh shit, my thing.
I think maybe cut out somehow technical difficulties with Lex. Lex, are you
Um,
still there?
but that is a good question though. Liberty or safety, and it's like, are you really infringing your liberty if
a
you're
hey,
mandated to
check
wear a
one,
mask?
two.
Hey, are you
Oh,
back?
Lex, you're back.
Hey, you back?
Yeah, yeah.
All
Okay,
right,
well,
let
I've got a
Lex say
question
what he
after
wanted to
you.
So
say.
where did I cut off?
Well, you cut it off whenever you started, but I got one question to ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So liberty over the safety, is safety really worth? Is liberty really worth it if the
Of course.
safety is such a
Um,
minute piece of thing to do?
Let
no,
me weigh
because
on.
the
Let
thing,
me
no,
weigh
but
on. Let me
no,
let
no,
me weigh in on
no,
this,
it was a question
Lars.
for me. I'm just gonna ask it, and then you'll wait. So the thing is, if you lose, if you're willing to give up your liberty for your safety, you will lose both. Like you won't be safe. You will not be safe. Some authoritarian motherfucker is gonna take power and be like, "Oh, so you dislike a video about My Little Pony? I'm gonna fucking kill you." It's like you
Yeah.
understand, like
So so the excuse for tyranny always is safety. So it
exactly.
always comes down
Okay.
to that's
Hello,
how that's how the tyrants they justify what they're doing. They
hello,
always say, "Well, I'm doing this to keep you safe." And so if you
hello.
allow safety to trump your liberty, then they're just going to come in and say, "I'm taking your rights away in order to keep you safe." And Dwight
Guys,
Eisenhower said,
Yeah.
if you want total safety, then go to a prison because there you'll be clothed and fed and so on. Okay,
Okay.
but you
want
want
to
no
And I
protect
freedom.
you
agree.
from the Jews. Like, I just want to protect you from the Jews, guys. What's wrong? Like, come on.
Okay. Let's not get too deep into the Zionist.
Okay, I was joking. My bad. My bad.
Yeah. No. The
Holy
Zionist
shit,
thing
dude.
is.
You
Okay. Never
just
mind.
ain't the
I won't even get
same
for
you
another.
just want. You just hate Jews, dude.
This is for another
Okay,
discussion.
let's like not
Yeah.
make
You
these
just hate
authority
Jews, dude.
statements without basis.
Yeah.
Let's just
No,
not.
He's
I
got
was making
Yeah.
the
Let's go.
no,
analogy that,
no,
like,
fucking
no,
no.
I was
No,
wait.
not
I
you,
wanna
Lex. I
no,
mean Eva.
He doesn't like Jews. That's it.
no. Holy shit! I was making
Okay,
the
hold on.
link
Okay, hold on.
It
between.
doesn't
Pause.
matter what you were making.
No,
Pause.
no, 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 no. I don't.
Pause. Just pause for a second. This is
This
exactly why I said let's just not make those statements because it kind of devolves into this. Okay.
okay, fair
So
enough. Like my
how
Dude,
bad.
about
I was
dude,
just talking
I'm
about like keeping people safe. Like I was
yeah
making a joke about like yeah,
Okay. I
tyranny
completely
always
understand it.
come. No, no, but I just
Lex,
don't.
I get it, but like it just that's another discussion. Like I completely
look.
disagree.
Okay, first
holy
No,
Discussion that
son.
I
I'm
didn't want to speak
moderating.
it
I'm
to
Hey,
discuss
hey,
moderating.
about
hey,
that.
hey! All right, let's everybody stop. Okay, one person at a time, please.
all right.
Okay,
You can this
so
part
I
on.
am actually going to
One
just
one
moderate right
Jew at a
now,
time.
Okay.
guys. I am actually moderating right now. And all I'm gonna say is, Lex, I completely understand the analogy you were trying to make. Eva, it seems like that statement is just really causing more issues. So we're just gonna skip right over that. We're not gonna talk about it
You
anymore.
fucking
Okay,
know
because
I'm
yeah,
right. I'm
yeah.
right. This
Okay, we
is
need.
super
Okay, make
racist.
All
sure
right,
that make sure
Eva,
they don't
if you
cut
do
it
not
because it's
follow what I tell
Dude,
you as a
I'm gonna
moderator,
defend myself if you want to go that road.
yo, dude,
All right.
chill,
no,
dude.
we're not
I'm
going
Okay,
that
so
route.
following. I'm
We are
following.
skipping this and we're moving on, or else you guys are gonna be muted.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can
Sammy,
you can
I'm on you.
cut it right here.
I'm just
Yeah.
I'll
following
warn
you.
you first. This is the first verbal warning. We're skipping this.
Why
Okay,
am
so
I warned? I'm with you, Sammy.
uh, we're cutting that that part of the video out, please, because I need this to be an important message. People they don't need to run into that.
Yes,
Um,
for making a
but
stupid joke.
okay,
Oh, Lex, that's not something I need. Okay. Now, starting now, you guys do not talk about this, and we're moving on to the next conversation, avoiding that.
where was I? So basically, right, where this
All
all
right.
correlates to is how we
Basically, we
perceive.
are just avoiding a joke from South Park. This is insane.
Oh my god, dude! If we stop talking about it, fuck off. Stop, please. Stop talking about it. Okay.
How can we, if there
I get
is
that he
going
was
to be
quoting a joke from South Park. I got it, but that's a different subject, and I knew I was going to cite something. Just please, okay. Um, basically what this all leads back to is what the people see, what they perceive, what they want to do, why they want to do it is because of what the media is giving them, is that they're not that is their knowledge, and that is also the world's knowledge. And from my understanding, from what I know from talking from people across the world on Discord, is that we're seen as a fucking laughing stock to them from our media because they're way over the top fucking shit they be sharing with their people, and they be thinking they have a right to say something about our fucking country. Well, why don't we have some patriotism and fucking gotten and show them up? Do something about it. fucking stand up and start doing something about it, man. We need to start working. We need to start working and doing shit, bro. We got families to feed. We got fucking houses to pay for. We got banks that we're in debt to. We can't just let all that get swapped up from under us and they just get the fuck out. What we need is to get the fuck back on track and be the Americans that we were fucking independently made to become by the fucking fathers of our nation, to be the people who we can be, which is hard work leads to the reward that you get, and it's never been more that than now because of our issue, Emancipation Proclamation, the desegregation, the rights out for blacks out all across those fucking times, and colored people alike, for equality of fucking payment through tax and all that type of shit, all their fucking income, stuff like that. Where it is now, your resume is going to determine whether or not you get a job. What you have, what you are worked, what you have done is going to determine whether or not you get a job. If you hard work with a job, even though you don't have much experience with it, but you pick up on it because you're hard working at it and you're passionate about it, they will keep you. They don't care about your color. They don't care if you're a boy or a girl. I know a welder on the military base I worked at. That was a woman, and she was 110K a year. All right, and she was only a welder for 5 years. Bro, listen, she was 30 years old. At 30 years old, we could fucking goddamn cry and dream over fucking $110 a year. But she did it through gumption, determination, and ability. And that's what we need to do. We need to get ourselves back to have some sense of pride about ourselves as people, not as white people, not as black people, not as whatever, as American people under the Constitution, under what our U.S. citizenship gives us, under what we are said by our Constitution. We follow and we have these rights because of what our founding fathers did. I don't care about whatever conspiracy you have for them. They made these things for a reason.
Unfortunately, with your mentioning of the Constitution, I would have to argue that it's kind of ironic considering that you did mention that it seems like, from my point of view, that you would prefer safety over liberty, which is
No.
completely, in my understanding of the Constitution, wrong.
Yep.
No, I don't, because I think people should be smart enough.
Safety net.
I think people
It's
should be
still
smart enough to be able to
capitalism.
remember
You're
for
over
rights.
talking, Eva.
All right,
Sorry.
Lars has the mic.
I'm sorry, dude. Just one more thing. I think that in a sense, since we're given that freedom, I think we should have that choice to make the commonsensical choice, which is, it's not that hard to wear a mask or gloves or anything like that whenever we go out, because we can take them off as soon as we get in the car and get back home.
You said the key word. You said choice. It's all about choice.
Yep.
And I do. Let me say this really quick too. You said that the founding fathers gave us our freedoms. That's actually not correct. The freedoms that we have, our rights, are, according to the founding fathers, self-evident, endowed by our Creator. They're inalienable. Okay, and so the reason that the government was created was to protect the rights that were already there. The rights exist whether there's a government or not. It's the purpose of the government to protect those rights. And when the government becomes destructive of the ends for which it has been created, it is the right and duty of the people to alter or abolish that government.
Yeah, and
Yes, my good sir.
our next door neighbors. You know what I'm saying? That Mexico and fucking Canada, or even the people we live beside, our next door neighbors. Literally, we don't even probably know hardly of them. If not, what we do know of them, we probably complain about, because it's probably the only thing that we care about is knowing about them. You know what I'm saying? We don't work together as a team, bro. We're all in this together. We all have the same problem. We all have the same issues here, bro. Like, it don't matter what your race is, bro. We all have the same issues.
I just woke up to talk shit with you.
No, it's not true. Like, some races have much more single parent issue than the other.
Okay, well, that's true, but what you could do with that is try to do something about it. But the thing is that we need to get somewhere. We need to do something as people, instead, with our work and our work ethic and our drive with people. That's the whole reason why there are single mothers as much as there are. Because they're being taught to be synthesized into this type of mentality, to where they do leave and they do have to only raise their child.
Oh,
with
wait,
the
no,
mother,
it's
and
not they
then
do
the
leave.
fucking child only
Lex,
has a
you're
goddamn
interrupting him.
father figure,
Lex,
which is a
you're
rapper
interrupting.
or something like that on the TV, or whatever's impressionable to him as glorification is a rapper or something like that, who's rapping out drugs, money, this and that. But that don't even have to do with the race. That has to do with single parents, because single mom And no father, he has to have a father figure. He has to look at something. He has to look at something to be, what is a man? I'm a man. What is a man? On the TV.
So,
And that's all you
so
see.
the ironic part of that is that actually, if you think about it, the same demographic, which I will not name, the same demographic that tends to vote for a certain political party is actually the same demographic that's usually oppressed by said political party and big government, but yet they still eat out of the same hand that slaps them after.
So
I feel
why?
that way about
So why
government
antagonize
in
them over it
general.
when we could just actually give them the truth about it? You know what I'm saying? Why don't we help them out about it? No, as people, not as whatever's the right side of it.
Not
Because
as a
if
group,
they're
just
being
as
oppressed, it's
people.
not their fault. They don't know it. You know, they don't know that what they don't know that this is happening. They don't know it's their fault. They don't know that them voting for them is going to harm them more than it is going to help them.
I
So why
mean,
not give them the
We
knowledge
everybody
instead
in
of
the world
berating
are
them about
telling
it?
them it's not their
Hey,
fault.
Lex, please quit trying to take the mic.
No. That's where I want to end it at. It's like they don't know no better, bro. Nobody really knows no better inside of a general populace aspect, bro. Like they just kind of follow by the media and they only do off of impulse instinct and boom, and you know what I know is what I know to do, and that's all I do, bro. Like it's like you give people the knowledge they need to think otherwise, which might be the better narrative just the factual option. They will believe that too, but they need to be able to be given to them, and they need to be open to it. You just can't just throw them to the side and be like that. They're citizens just as much as we are. We got to help them understand this because
hey
a lot
Lar-
of the populace don't.
hey Lars, I'm sorry, but the issue with that is kind of like asking a stupid person. If you have this whole internet that is full of wealth of information that you can learn off of, why are you still stupid? Now, the problem is, well, the mainstream media and the common popular culture, including Hollywood, actually aims to, well, brainwash them, and that's exactly what they're doing. Now, in middle school, I was the same way. I was brainwashed. I believed in everything Bernie Sanders said, but suddenly I figured out how to use the internet. Like, I was always told, why are you asking me when you have the whole internet that you could find
Yeah.
information off of? So I did that, and I became red pilled, and I learned exactly what was going on. Because unfortunately, this may sound cynical, but humans are inherently selfish, and they will do whatever it takes for power.
All
And
right.
that's
So all,
go
all
ahead,
due
go ahead, go
all
ahead.
due respect, Sammy, what you just said is, I'm so glad you said that because I want you to think about what you just said when it comes to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, where you wanted me to provide you with examples.
No,
Please apply that same idea to that.
no, I
Well,
want
I'm
to
happy.
I
apply.
I'm
don't have
happy
to
to
No,
talk with you more
argue.
about it, but you got the right
Just
idea.
my response to that is just this is the only response. In my defense, if you're going to make an argument, I would argue that you would actually have articles or information or even statements to back up said debates. It's part of debating or even arguing over a topic. It's just like you shouldn't expect to say, "Hey, blah blah blah," and then I have to go search it up. Well, I mean, obviously, I should search it up too, but it's not like you should just leave it there instead of providing some examples to support your own statement to add to your own credibility.
and plus
I'm
he's a
I'm not
political
worried about my
advisor.
credibility, but I'm happy to discuss it with you sometime. But um, I can tell you care about this kind of stuff, and so I have a feeling that you are going to stumble on more and more as time goes by. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Lars. You
Yeah,
wanted to
so
say
I mean,
something.
I will say this: he is a political advisor. He was a political advisor at one point. So I will say that I feel like that he might be right, he might be wrong, whatever. But it doesn't this support the narrative that the lower class is the majority of our populace. So that being said, that doesn't help. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter what color they are, bro. This is lower class. They're under 50K a year. They are scraping to get by, and that is a problem that over half of our people are that. It don't matter about what the fuck their race is. I don't care. I could care get goddamn less. But the reason why they're like that is because they don't know no better. Because their parents and their parents and their parents' parents.
Well,
I know
what
that.
happens is we got a criminal justice system that's heavily biased against people that are not light skin color, and
Or
so
of you know,
the rates that crimes are being committed are pretty much even across the board across different ethnicities, but the rates at which people are actually convicted, um, and the sentences that they receive for their convictions are also, um, it's if you look at the numbers, it's obvious that the justice system is not treating everybody equal.
those numbers I would like to see, but I would not be surprised if you were right about it not treating everybody equal. Because obviously there are individuals who make decisions of who does and does not go to jail. Okay, and so that being said, that does not have an issue with our criminal justice system. It has an issue to do with the individuals who are making these decisions. So that being said, maybe we should do something about that.
Well,
Because it's the judges at the end of the day who make that clause, who made that claim. Okay, so maybe that's the issue, but that's the issue that no one really kind of goes around to a narrative about, now, do they?
All right. Well,
well,
here
I
I'm
would.
I'm going to give you an example. This is one of these unconstitutional laws that you wanted me to provide an example, and it figures pretty heavily into this that we're talking about right now. Okay. The Controlled Substances Act of 1971, and then the various state laws that echo it. There is nothing in the federal constitution that gives the government the authority to make a law like this. And the best proof for it, one of the best proofs for it, is that when alcohol was made illegal through prohibition, the Constitution was amended for that. Now, thankfully, we saw the error in our ways as a country, and we amended the Constitution again to repeal alcohol prohibition. But if we wanted to make certain substances illegal, the way that Nixon did when he signed that Controlled Substances Act in 1971, then we should have amended the Constitution again. That would have been constitutional by definition because the Constitution is getting changed. But without changing it, the authority does not exist in the United States Constitution to ban certain substances under the ideas that they are dangerous for people using. And so this is this controlled substances issue. This is like a bedrock of modern police enforcement. This is like a lot. This is like the main objective that police are around for is dealing with this war on drugs. And it's the reason that there's so many more cops than we really need is to try to deal with this. It's the reason that people pulled over on the side of the road are getting.
Hello, still talking? Hello.
You cut off, Ralph. We can't hear you.
Yeah, he's out.
Okay, I think I got where he's getting to, but the thing is that he's right in that sense. Is that dioxin is a pill form of methamphetamine. It's literally methamphetamine, right? But it's pill. You take it, it digests it. It's a lot safer than smoking it or snorting it or even just taking it by the crystal that's made inside some guy's fucking back door, right? And that's the thing is that you do make those things illegal, they will be a lot safer for people to consume and a lot safer for people to do if it's more widely known those are there. Dioxin is there for extreme narcolepsy issues, right? And for ADHD. I don't know a single person who got prescribed dioxin. I don't even know if it's really that great for it or not, but I will say that I get prescribed amphetamines. When I take it normally, it does help me in my life. But let me tell you, it's big pharma is a big issue inside this country as far as it goes with how as advertised what we see and what we portray as help because doctors give us whatever the fuck that we say that we need and they will give it to them because that supports them in their narrative more times than not. They're not going to prescribe you something and they obviously know that you're addicted to it or not. It's your fault if you decide that you broke your leg, you take a month's worth of opiates and don't know that the reason why you feel sore and sicky for about a few days is because you were taking opiates for your broken leg and you go back and try to get them refilled and you get them refilled and you start getting addicted to it, boom, you're a heroin addict. That's kind of like where you hit at, where Well, they offered you, a sedative. They offered you something to kind of help ease your pain, but you didn't even really have to take it. And if you did take it, you should have known what you were taking. And the thing is, what you're taking is a fucking opiate, and it's a drug. It's one of the highest addictive things.
Hey,
And it's your
Lars.
fault. It's given to us as knowledge, and doctors should give us that knowledge. Yes, sure. But the
So,
thing is that you should want to understand these things instead of getting painkillers and just taking them blindly.
so I'm sure y'all know my political views, but I'd actually like to incite some thoughtfulness. Now, I will ask if it's all right, the reciprocate of such beliefs that the government should not dabble in our rights, our liberties. Now, should the government actually regulate such companies like Big Pharma and the medical industry for the good of the people? Now, if you look at it, I don't know if you know, but if you actually go to the billing office of a hospital and you have bills, and if you pay with insurance, they will actually take advantage of that and they will mark up everything extremely. But if you actually say that you're gonna pay in cash right now, the price is drastically lower. I mean, it's actually pretty crazy. So the real question is, in the reciprocate, is it justified for the government, for the good of the people, something that actually would be good for everyone, to actually regulate industry like that?
Okay,
No,
that's the thing though,
it's
is that
already
no,
regulating it, and because they're regulating it is the reason it's the way it is. Let me provide you an example. Okay, patent medicine is the reason that drugs are so expensive, and it's the reason medical devices are way more expensive than they should be. What you're paying for is not the actual labor that it takes and the materials that it takes to make these devices or to make these drugs. You're paying for the intellectual property rights that are being protected by the patent office and at the end of the day by guns and thugs. Okay, so if you didn't have the system of patents, people argue against this idea by saying, well, there wouldn't be as much innovation if you didn't protect people's intellectual property. And my attitude is the motivation for innovation should be what you can make off of an idea, but you shouldn't be able to say, because I'm the first one that took this idea to the fucking patent office, I'm going to have an army of goons that are going to use violence to keep anybody else from using that idea. Now, it's one thing if somebody else claims it's their idea, that is fraud, and that we can deal with the government. But if they're not claiming that they came up with the idea themselves, and you're
uh,
not committing fraud in that manner, then I don't give a shit who uses an idea and makes money off of it.
okay, so you're way off the mark on what the actual problem is. Is why the hell are we letting Big Pharma do this to us? Why as citizens? Because the only way that's going to change is if we stand up against it. We either see the problem, don't want to do anything about it, which that's one of the big issues is addiction rates in America through pharmaceuticals is a big issue there. So that maybe we should stand up, ask for a change of it. But instead, we don't do that. So we want to blame everything else. That's the thing. We want to blame everything else. But us as citizens have the power to do things like this. But we want to disagree on what caused the coronavirus. You understand what I'm saying? All these things are a distraction from what the actual problems are. Big pharma doing this to us. Our criminal justice system being reigned by racist Zionists and fucking everything else is doing around us is a distraction from the actual problems, which is big pharma, our debt claims, and everything else that has to go around us as citizens instead of us as individuals. Because we're
Now,
all
Your
if
average person
so,
doesn't give a fuck.
the pharma thing about the opiates, I don't know if you know, but now the argument is that regulating the actual opiates would actually make people safer instead of allowing pharma to take advantage of these people. Now, I would actually offer you the reciprocate view. People who actually need the drug can't get enough of it. People who are in pain all their life, there's nothing that can be done about it in the modern medical level, and they need these drugs, but they can't get it because they're like, well, sorry, we can only dispense so much to each person. Now, not only that, in my opinion, it seems like you're not actually seeing the bigger view. Now, the reason why I offered this reciprocate view of pharma and government regulation is because that is exactly what I wanted to hear from Archduke Ralph. Now, if you think about it, all this money that they're spending on lobbying or trying to get around these regulations versus actually like get the cost, the face value of the actual equipment and the labor, and obviously a profit margin. But I actually kind of agree with the pen thing. Now, obviously, there's a difference between like having innovation and actually having fucking Jesus Christ. Okay, where the two different parties would compete against each other, competition. Actually, it seems that if we remove these pen rights, the intellectual property rights, that perhaps it would actually encourage more innovation and competition, because not only would you be stuck on that one idea, you would be stuck on trying to make that idea better than the other person.
Yeah,
That's a
but that
good
would also
point too.
inflation
And if
though,
you
by
look at country,
marketing.
if you look at countries, like real quick, if you look at countries where they do not enforce patents in medicine, such as India, Mexico, the reason that drugs are so much the same drugs that we get here in America, made by the same pharmaceutical company, are so much cheaper there, is because they don't enforce the patents. So there's alternatives there. So a third party can make medicine if they want to, the same exact medicine, just as good quality. And so the company that normally would be charging, $700 for a month's worth of a certain medication, now they can't get away with it anymore because they have competition that'll charge much, much less. So it brings the prices down. Your supply is greater. When supply goes down, demand remains the same, price goes up. When supply increases and demand stays the same, the price comes down.
Okay, then that's a great idea. Then make the prices go down. Maybe see how evaluation could go through for getting the drugs out to who actually needs it. Maybe for some pain toleration versus the just having a broken leg or a broken toe will get you some fucking hydros. You know what I'm saying? Like, but then those
Dude,
type
I,
of things are what get people hooked. It's like we need better like psychological evaluation in every aspect of our system. We don't
I
have that
have
better.
I have. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to say that I have sleep apnea, so I have to use a machine called a CPAP that breathes for me at night. It's got a hose that comes out of it and a mask that I wear over my face, and
Yeah.
it pumps air into me steadily as I'm sleeping to keep me. What apnea is where you stop breathing while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
But the important thing about this that I want to say is that the cost of this equipment is insane. The CPAP machine by itself, not including the hoses and the mask, is about $1,000 retail. And the mask is a piece of plastic, okay, and that's all it
Uh-huh.
is fucking plastic. But because there's
Especially
intellectual
they
fucking
patent it.
property on it and patents, that mask costs $400, and
Yeah.
it's just a
Okay.
little thing that I put on my. It's 400 fucking
Okay.
dollars just for the
See,
mask.
now we're
That's
getting somewhere.
insane.
See, now we're getting somewhere. You see that? Now we're getting somewhere. See, that's a big that. See, if these things were changed, this will be big price margins that will be lowered for us as citizens to get the things that we might need. As that includes antibiotics, that includes things that were actually needed in order to get rid of infections, whatnot, like that. They'll be able to get those out to even people who are lower in the class rate to have the what they need as well, because they're able to afford it now with their own income, maybe whatever they have through unemployment, which we can steadily kind of change. But nobody's even thinking about that, dude. Nobody's
And
even paying attention to these little things, well, these big things that are the actual issue in our fucking country, dude. They're only paying attention to race, race war, fucking coronavirus, 5G, 5G. Where did it start at? China, 5G. It's like, dude, come on, get the
hey,
bigger
Yeah,
picture.
Lars.
Yeah.
people
So
are sheeting.
I would say that we're all on the same page relatively. However, we are actually offering solutions. No offense, but it seems like you want the problem solved. But I mean, we're offering solutions and we're discussing it, but it seems that I don't really see the same coming out of you.
What do you mean?
Well, we talk about the regulations and the intellectual property rights and the hypothetical effects of actually, well, not even hypothetical, the effects of doing away with the intellectual property rights via the patent office. And the effects we've seen in other countries such as India, China, Mexico, all these countries that are actually known for their medical innovation in a lot of medical journals these days. And I mean, we're offering these solutions and we're discussing it, but I mean, it just seems like you're really talking about, man, these pharmaceutical companies. I wish, I mean, people should
Well,
rise up and do something, but how? Like, I just like to see your view of how.
how do we do it? Well, first off, we would have to have a unity of sort of one one cause, which the patent rights need to go away. You're right, absolutely. I just learned that right now, and that sounds like a bunch of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about sleep apnea machines. He has sleep apnea machines. I get my medication. I get it through my insurance, and it's a good margin. But it's not enough to be where it's something that I worry about. But there's other people who might need it that need to get that weren't able would be able to afford it. The thing is that they don't look at those things issually. They look at it as a normal life thing. And we have to get people to realize that we're really being fucked like this by margin by these companies because of the patent rights, because of how much it would cost throughout that way, because they're able to fucking mark it up like crazy, like gas. Like gas is now like that, now is equally about the same as each and every state, everything like that. Well, because now people aren't able to price gouge the fucking gas up. We need to be able to do that with this and offer competition to different companies so that we can keep their prices to where we can afford it. I mean, we're not. They're supposed to work for us. No, we're not supposed to work for them.
The
We're not supposed to work
pharmaceutical lobbies are some of the most powerful lobbies that exist, and so I mean the problem here, when we're talking about all this and how do we actually change it, your average person does not give a fuck. And
exactly.
what I try to tell people and explain to them is that until and unless your average person begins to reject completely the notion that the purpose of the government is to control our behavior and walk us through life and tell us what is safe for us and okay for us every step of the way, until as a fucking society we reject that notion, which is not coming anytime soon. People want to argue over what flavor of control that they want shoved down everyone's throat. That's the
Yeah.
kind of thing people are arguing over. They're
Yeah.
not arguing over whether or not control should be shoved down people's throats in the first place. That's like a marginal viewpoint, the kind of stuff we're talking about here. Most
Uh-huh.
Dude,
people don't
the
don't even realize, and when you start talking this way to them, you sound crazy to them. Like it's
yeah,
you,
no,
you
but
sound like you're trying to fucking abolish. I mean, I basically would be fine with pretty much abolishing the government, because the government doesn't solve any problems. It either creates problems or it makes existing problems worse. And so, you know, you start talking like that to your average person and they're going to just recoil.
Yeah, it's like out this world, like a dumbass. Like, are you crazy? UFO picked you up type deal. Like, it's
no, but the thing is that for like I think the term normies sums it up pretty well. I mean, the amount of fucking knowledge you need to have previous to what you learn in order for what you learn to make sense, and not because when something doesn't make sense to you, like when something seems so far fetched, you just and it's a natural um reaction to dismiss it. Like if someone tell you something crazy, it's like most of the time it's probably better for you to dismiss it as crazy because the person might just be crazy, but over time there's pattern. But now with the whole they are suppressing people on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever, like people who are saying who are trying to have normies like see some fact or some things that the mainstream media is not showing. Well, this it's all being suppressed. So now you talk to someone about like Jeffrey Epstein not killing himself, and the person's like, "What are you talking about?" Like, okay, so I need to teach you about like pedophile island, Jeffrey Epstein, like all the fucking like it's too much information to just quickly like it's just an example, but I'm pretty sure most people in this room know what the fuck I'm talking about when I
yeah.
say Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think that was pretty prevalent throughout the world that he probably didn't kill himself. Why didn't we ask for answers? You know, because
nobody
this guy was
thinks
going
he
to
killed
expose
himself, but the mainstream, and I'll let you speak after, but nobody thinks he killed himself, but the mainstream fucking pushed it out like he did, and people who don't know shit about the whole story, well, they just think he killed himself because they don't know better. Like, they need somebody to actually know about the whole thing to be like, dude, that story is bunk because the guard like were asleep, the cameras malfunctioned. Nah, all the story. But like, if you just hear, oh, the guy killed himself, you're like, oh shit, he killed himself in prison. Well,
Yeah,
Yeah, this guy had connections
who's
to
back?
not only the Clintons. Okay, Hillary and
Yeah,
Bill both flew on his plane
Conrad.
multiple times, knowing he was a fucking convicted pedophile. But this is
yeah,
also true. This is also true of Donald Trump, and so he's connected to
no,
the last two people we had a choice from in the most recent election to fucking become president are both fucking tied to Jeffrey Epstein. And I was trying to tell people
wait,
this
Yeah,
months and months before he was arrested this most recent time. I'm trying to tell people this, and people don't want to fucking hear it because most
yeah.
people have their pet. I'm a Democrat. I've chosen one of these two sides because they
It's
have
my
to
guy.
take sides. Otherwise, they're not being a good American. Okay, and so they have to pick their side. And the last
I mean,
thing they ever want to hear is that all of these motherfuckers are in the same club and they're all a bunch of fucking sicko
well,
pedos.
you wait. Okay, so quickly, Trump under him, bunch of like the moment Trump got elected, he started arrest like in a bunch of like most people don't know that, but the like people who are pedophile being arrested, sky the fuck rocketed the moment Trump got into office. We know the kind of Trump has been having like fucking beautiful lady contests and shit since like the past 30 to 40 years. Like, we know exactly what kind of women Donald Trump like. We don't know what kind of women like Bill Clinton like or all these other politicians like. We know exactly what the fuck Trump is going for. And Trump also banned Epstein from his resort like 20 years ago because he was hitting on a 14 years old or something. Like, there's many things, and yes, Trump like was at Epstein place at some point, but from the report we have, like, it's because they lived on this like when that one's complicated, and I don't like I've seen this story once, so I'm not gonna go on that territory. But overall, like, yes, Trump knew who Epstein was, and like he was in the same world, but he didn't chill with the guy, and the only person who said he was his friend was actually Epstein, saying like, "Yeah, I'm friend with Trump," and Trump never said he's friend with Epstein. So
Well, that's one of the many fucking things that is wrong with this country is that all you hear is the bad. All you hear is the bad as soon as a Republican gets in office, which I'm not really like a Republican or a libertarian by really much any means. I think both this sides have their pros and cons, and both the people who run it have their own demons. But the thing is that he's just not done so much bad and is not as fucking
he's
thrown out
trying to
far
pull up
fetched
from the war. Sorry,
as
cutting you off.
as they okay, so basically it's not Trump is not as bad as they put him out to be in the media, and this is what the rest of the world sees him as, is just this big pedophile, sexist asshole, whoever who makes bad decisions and just fucking destroying our country left and fucking right. And it's like he's done good too. He's done a lot of good things inside this country too, but you never see that or hear it, or he doesn't within the same year that he's in office, Epstein went to jail. I mean, like, or went to prison and hung himself, right? Like these things that are going on right now inside this country, should they need some positivity upon it, and we need to start making positive action and start making good things happen. We need to start making change for the way what we pay for, the important things that we pay for, important things that we do, what we're taxed on, what may should not be. We need to start asking our government, why aren't you working for us? Why aren't you working
Well,
for us? That's what you're supposed to be fucking doing. You're supposed to help work for us. You're supposed to run us. You're supposed to tell us
Right.
this is the best way that you
hey,
as a citizen is going to live because it's going to be the best option for you. But you're not doing that.
so Lars, speaking of the Trump's doing bad thing and stuff, actually, it flip flops every single time a different party gets into office. Now, if a Democrat was in office, the Republicans would say the same thing. If
No,
Republican
we're
is in
talking about
office,
mainstream
the
media. So
Democrats would say the
Hey,
same
please
thing.
don't interrupt Sammy when he's
So
talking.
it's just it's honestly, no offense, it's honestly foolish to just really see it, because politicians are all the same.
Yeah,
They're
I
all the
know
same,
that. We know
and
this.
there's just no reason to believe that they wouldn't be the same on either side.
Exactly, and I
Amen.
don't believe that whatsoever because it doesn't. And because I remember Obama was made out to be like basically Satan, and whenever my parents would watch TV, whenever I was a kid to middle school, so like I know that is the case. But what do you see inside mostly on the internet, which I'm a part of that internet age, would be Trump is great, dude. Well, not Trump is great, but you would see like Obama was great. Obama did this. Obamacare was great and stuff like that. And it's like Trump's the guy rid of Obamacare. Why the fuck he do that? What the internet's showing is a libertarian straight, and everybody gets most of that libertarian. I'm telling you, and it's the truth because I don't really follow much anything with politics. But what is thrown at me through websites, stuff like that, what's on my Google news feed, whatever it be, it will be Trump's hated it, but beforehand it was always Obama good, Obama good. And it's like, yeah, it's because the Democrats in office. It's because the Democratic Party's going to do the best they can for the people who are running the fucking government. They're not going to do shit for, and for the media as well. Definitely for the media as well, which they kind of intertwine with each other. But whenever someone like Trump gets into office, he's making shit, he's getting shit done. And they don't like that because whenever you get shit done, then you get more leniency of what the hell the people are doing. Well, how they're what they're making with money, all that type of stuff, what they're able to pay for, dude. It's just like making a change in 4 years is a very small change he's made. And it's been good towards our economy. Okay, he might not say the most smartest things. He might not have done the smartest things. But I will say, I would run. I would let him run again. I will let him run again. I'll say, well, he had a good 4 years. All in all, if you look over everything he's done, why not give him another 4 instead of letting a mentally disabled man run our country?
bro, the economy
Well,
was amazing.
here, if I could just say one thing, and now let Lex speak. Food for thought. How about instead of choosing between two geriatric pedophiles, how about we actually look at the one female candidate who actually supports all our liberties? Cough, cough, Joe Jorgensen.
A female?
Yep,
Who's she?
Libertarian Party candidate, Dr.
Yeah,
Joe
never heard.
Jorgensen.
Yeah, I never heard of her. I might have to look into her because let me tell you, definitely ain't nothing covered on her from what I've seen, and I don't really look at it like that though. But I would say that if I look at her ideals and I agree with it, I'll go for her completely 100% because I'm all about whoever's going to make us look better or whoever's going to do us better. Really, it's more like it. So it's you saying that, and I will definitely go for that notion that I'm about to look into her because I haven't heard about her till date, and that's a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Sammy's on fire.
Yeah, like this is a problem that I haven't heard of her. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure there's a lot of other people who haven't even heard that she's maybe even running, dude.
I
Like,
mean, look, bro. You know, I'm at the point where like some of you guys know, I used to work in politics. I'm retired from it now. Like I won't even vote. And the reason I don't want to vote is because I feel like when you vote, you're basically that's like endorsing this bullshit system that we have. And maybe I'm too cynical and maybe I'm too jaded, but I just feel like, I mean, yeah, libertarians are generally way better than fucking, the major parties. But at the end of the day, even the libertarians are like way too fucking authoritarian for my taste. Like, I'm so close to just complete anarchy and what I believe the government should be allowed to do. Like, such a tiny list of things that even the libertarians are like too much for me to swallow.
and
But they're way better.
yeah, it's like, yeah. I never really focused much on the Libertarian Party. I'm 21 years old. The concept is new to me, and I haven't really much paid attention to politics. This is going to be my first year I'm going to be able to vote. And I don't even want to vote, but now I might have a reason to vote. And the thing is that I feel like it's my duty to vote, even if it does matter or not. It does not matter if it does not or does. The thing is that if there is this problem is such a big deal, then we need to get everybody in our communities and things like that to be like, yo, we don't need to vote for any of these people. All of these people are really not going to do any of us no good. But no one's going to agree with these notions, and that's the problem. And we need to find a way to be able to do that. But the elections are coming up way too quick to have done this now. If we would have talked about this 2 years ago, getting something done might happen, because the internet's the best source to do anything, and anyone can do something on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Post out shit, make sure that they know and stuff like that. But it's like we're at such a point now to where it's like the coronavirus and everything that's going around is what made me decide to actually look into my suspicions and maybe decide that, oh shit, it's actually a little bit more closer to my margin than I thought it was. You know what I'm saying? Than what I was seeing, what I was thinking was happening, because it definitely is. It most definitely is. Manipulation and maniacal fucking dictatorship is over us in a puppeteering kind of way.
I mean, all I can say about COVID is, so COVID suddenly happens when all the shit's going on in the world and in the US. And actually, I don't know if you guys know, but there's actually been thousands, actually tens of thousands of packets from China with mysterious seeds that have not been identified in any kind of agriculture being shipped to random people in the US. And it seems that the purpose of these seeds are to undermine the agriculture industry of the United States, undermining the economy. Because I don't know if you know, we are one of the largest growers of corn in the world. We export it to almost everybody. And in fact, we have so much corn left over that if we don't turn it into ethanol, we throw it away. Now, with all that going on, I don't know if you knew, but China actually has a new swine flu in pigs now. And it just happens to be that it has the perfect mix of the complements of the original 1918 strain and also the complements of the 2007 pandemic.
Now, if I do trust you, so I'm going to ask you: did you obviously get this from a reputable source? Would you say that what you looked into this was a sound source?
Yes, it's all over mainstream media. Now they won't, obviously push it over to everybody because it doesn't support their views or their ideologies, but it's still reported by mainstream media. They just say, "Oh yeah, it's for so that they say they send the packages and then they can make all these fake reviews, even though the agricultural offices of states have not even been able to identify the seeds or the plants, even after growing them."
Yeah. Okay. So, see, that's the thing that I've never heard really much anybody arguing about. As far as like problems that are going on right now, that they're trying to basically poison our fucking crops and shit. And not too many people are arguing about that because they're too busy arguing about what, race war. Seeing, because what they see is just a whole bunch of schlock, and what most of the time, what you're looking at more times than not, as an average American, is going to be your Twitter or your Facebook more times than not whenever you're looking for things, or if you're just scrolling through it, because you just have it there for whenever you're just looking for a comment or looking for a post or just want to post something or just want to look at posts because you're bored. These are the things that are fed to you over and over and over again. So these are the things that you are going to start believing and paying attention to, and it's all the wrong things, because that's where you get the most of your important shit from, is going to be what you pay attention to more times of the day than not. And you probably pay attention more times of the day to Twitter and Facebook and Instagram more than you do anywhere else, or TikTok as well. But that's the mentality of the American that's been notion is sanctioned to become like kind of like that, and we need to fight against it. We need to start saying, bro, just because you're an independent website and app does not mean that you can just overtly just have these biased ass shits just thrown at me 24/7 because you data mine and sell our shit without us knowing, and let
Well,
us know that through our networking, this is why we're getting thrown this shit, because this is what we like to click and this is what we like to look at. So it says, okay, well, let's find something similar to this, and it gives it to you and it supports your narrative
hey
over
Lars,
and over and over again. You think you're right,
so if
and
I
you're
could just,
absolutely right.
sorry.
No, it's just like Sammy. It's like you're on the margin with actual problems out here because it hurts our local economy, our national economy. This is things that will hurt us drastically, but people aren't paying attention to it.
So I don't know if you know, but many of the oaths that people give are to defend the Constitution against forces, enemies, both domestic and foreign. Now, it seems that people focus on the foreign part, but not the domestic part, because you mentioned the race war stuff, which unfortunately, it seems like that is what the a certain liberal party is actually peddling, because no offense, but as me as a conservative slash libertarian, I have not been treated in a racist way by people who are in that demographic as much as I have by a certain liberal party. Now, I don't know if you heard about affirmative action, but it was actually taking people who would get into college by merit, many who were hardworking Asians. I don't know if you know, but my demographic is my ethnicity is I'm Asian. Um, Now they would take people who are hardworking Asians, and they would actually stop the the enrollment based on merit, based on their grades, their GPA, everything, and they would actually put people from, no offense, and unfortunately, economically disadvantaged people into these colleges where they don't belong. Now, yes, it's truly terrible that they can't get the same level of education, but it doesn't mean that you can start basically choosing people based on race, because that is essentially what they were doing.
Yeah,
And
that's what they're trying to get us to do.
and it's just it seems like one certain party is doing it, and one certain party to me is better than the other, because um fortunately, as being a constitutionalist, I don't see people based on race. I see people as Americans. Now, especially, you heard me mention the Virginia gun rally where we
Yeah.
protested the state governor and the state legislation.
hmm
We actually had black people, we had Muslims, we actually had people from different races, different creeds. We had gay people, we had transgender people. It didn't matter, because what we were focused on was our constitutional rights to bear arms, and it brought us together as Americans.
And that's good. But the thing is that what rest of the world, what the rest of the people outside their area will see is something completely different, and that's the issue. And the race war, do not ever want to incite ever no race war. I think we should get rid of any type of connotation of division by race, or just why we should just be around people because of our race or our culture. I think we should all have a shared American culture and kind of race in a sense, because by now we've done kind of mix and match enough to where it ain't no longer Anglo-Saxon. It ain't no longer just African American, dude. We're pretty much mix and match. We are an American culture and American race. If you want to put it that way, this is how I see it, because we are so unique in a sense of most any other country that we're a melting pot. It's true. And I
Well,
like the idea that the people came together and did that at the rally, and people see that coming together, wanted to defend the Constitution, but the rest of the world is seeing something different. Especially libertarians are seeing something different, especially because they don't know anything about guns. Most of them don't know much about guns. I remember watching this video saying, "Oh, a liberal firing his gun for the first time." Oh my god, dude! The way it bothered me, his gun safety, just evaluation in general. But whenever he fired the first shot, he was like, "Oh, that was fun." And I was like, "Yeah, because he's fucking fun to shoot targets." Yeah, I know. This is what like a majority of gun owners do. We shoot at targets all day. We shoot at targets and shit. Like we don't buy
uh,
it for really malicious use, and we also buy it for self defense against those who will do it for harm. And that's because they never even been around it. All they know is what the media told them. And this is a big issue. We have to go at this, and we have to go at Hollywood. We have to go at, or the people who are basically polishing our youth and polishing us in general on what we view. Because really, if you look up and you admire someone, especially at a young age, you're going to start believing what they believe, and that's just the truth. And a lot of them don't believe the right shit. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of them believe some convoluted ass shit, and they have glum, especially YouTube with personalities, bro. Don't even get me started, man. There's so many of them with so outrageous fucking accusations to where streamers at these riots are trying to incite violence and stuff so that they could get some goddamn clicks and goddamn clout for it. It's like, bro, this is what our youth is watching. This is what they're watching.
So if I could say, it seems that most of the issue is that certain people actually support the idea of refusal of people to assimilate to American culture. Now, you hear me speaking in this voice, and I'm Korean, but I'm also American. But you don't hear me most of the time where I'm driving a diesel truck. I actually own a big diesel truck. I own uh, uh,
Don't go
food,
on to my like.
paperweights. I have paperweights.
Oh
Uh,
shit! Now we know everything about you.
Shh. I have paperweights. It's definitely not anything else. And half the time I'm speaking in a southern accent, and I'm like, shit. I love your truck. How many fat bitches and gravy can it hold? Like, you ever seen an Asian pulling up in a big diesel truck and talking like that? Well, no. But you see, I actually get along with so many white people that people would say are racist, but in this American culture, they love me. Like, they love the idea of roof cream. LA 93
Yeah,
riots,
bro.
Yeah,
Face proof
American.
Korean.
we do. Yeah.
No, but even in French Canada, like we have our own swear, which is like we're basically saying like word from the church, like a calice, tabarnak, esti. But the moment we hear like let's say a Mexican swearing in French Canadian, we're like, oh my god, I love that Mexican. Like that Mexican is, or like, I guess I like that Mexican. Like, bro, it's fucking music to our ears. Like he has a strong Mexican accent. He's living here. It's been 5 years, and he's swearing in French Canadian. Like he's sharing our culture. He's embracing the culture, and you're like, man, I love that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's like it's not against any type of human instinct and human mentality to have a foreign object come around inside of your culture, inside of your thing, and just have kind of an obvious maybe we could say cautionary, and that's loosely basing it towards it because as either we're not used to it, we have a bad connotation towards what we think of it, or otherwise just maybe even just your skin color. It's like that's human. This human like kind of instinct into seeing if a city man came into a big old honky tonky town, they probably stare at him the whole fucking town. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter.
Uh,
But all the white. It doesn't matter. He comes into town, they're not staring at him because of anything else, but he's wearing a big suit and he has a fucking goddamn suitcase with a Cadillac. You know what I'm saying? They don't. That's weird to them. It's different. So obviously they're gonna be cautionary of it at first. Whenever you see them start embracing your culture and stuff like that, you start, I don't know, getting to know them more, probably stuff like that. And it shouldn't be like that, but it's instinct and it is something that happens. And I think if you are going to be a part of a culture, a part of a place, you should try to become, and for your sake and for everyone else's, just
all
kind
Now,
of
right.
just
So
be
I
an
think
American. Just be
let
if you want a U.S.
But dude,
citizenship,
if I
be
go
an
live in China,
oh hey,
Americanized.
let Lars finish, please. He was not done.
there's an American there's an American mentality, and it's like be an American. Try to be one. If you want to come here and be with us, try to like adapt to it. Enjoy the lives that the pros that we bring to being Americans, because it's just anywhere else. American goes somewhere else, it's the same fucking thing.
All
They
right. I
adapt
think
to your
that's a
culture.
sorry.
No,
Were
it's
you
just
done,
adapt to your
Lars?
culture, adapt to the society that you're around. Because if you don't, you're just going to be held down.
All right. I think that's a really good note to end on. I mean, we're going to continue the discussion here, but I'm going to